is if you were to buy, you know, the drink package on Royal Caribbean, how much does that add to your cruise cost? And on Disney, it's included in the very high price. It is Sunday, May 31st, 2020, and on this week's edition of Sunday Sofa Time, we are comparing Royal Caribbean to Disney Cruise Lines. It's almost June. The beard is back, and full disclosure, I'm kind of hungover. I went out for some social distancing cocktails last night, and it was so good to just hang out with some friends again and get together with people. And yeah, look at my face. Kids, if you're considering drinking 4 cocktails in one night, this is the reason why not to. Oh, you thought this video was gonna be about cruise ships? Sorry, tangents. As I mentioned, we are going to be comparing Carnival Cruise Line to As I mentioned, we're going to be comparing Disney Cruise Line to Royal Caribbean Cruise Line in this video, and I'll tell you where I'm drawing my experiences from in case you're new here. I have cruised on the Mariner, Navigator, Monarch, Legend, Anthem, and Freedom of the Seas. And actually, I've only cruised on the Disney Dream, and so that is the only Disney experience that I'm drawing from when I go through this list of points I'm going to compare. But it's time to start planning cruises again. I mean, I think December, January 2021, that's a good time to start looking about when you're gonna do your next cruise. And these are going to be points, even if I'm not like an expert on Disney Cruise Line, I think that these comparisons will still definitely help you when you're trying to decide. And the points I'm gonna talk about are the boarding and leaving the ship, the cabins, the shows, the service, the spa, the attractions like the fun special things, and the food. And some of my opinions and some of my experiences might be a little bit surprising for you, so make sure you watch all of them to get the whole deal. Any cruise vacation, of course, begins with the moment that you arrive at the port and start getting onto the ship. Royal Caribbean uses several different ports and several different, embarkation halls. And some of them are nice and some of them are, kind of old. There's not really like one set standard when it comes to Royal Caribbean. Disney, however, has their own dedicated terminals that they've built. Terminals, that's the word I was looking for. And they are full of the design and charm and Disney magic that you would expect from this company. So when it comes to like the visual appeal and the organization and the just the all-together look of it, a Disney cruise will definitely start you in a little bit better mood. Here's some happy people meeting Mickey. Oh, there's Minnie as well. Like I said, I've only done the one Disney cruise, but just from looking at that terminal, if that is what all the Disney terminals are like, then it's nice. And yeah, I've had great experiences on Royal Caribbean, like when I boarded the, I forgot, the Harmony of the Seas. Also cruised with Harmony of the Seas. When I boarded the Harmony of the Seas, that was a really big, pristine, well-organized experience, but there have been other times where it just wasn't such a nice experience. It was like long waits, not a nice building, didn't seem clean. So anyways, when it comes to getting on the ship, Disney definitely wins. When it comes to the last day of the cruise and leaving the ship, something that's always depressing, I have to say, I think both have, the same system. There isn't really one here from my experiences that I can say that something stands out as being much better or much worse. Of course, the Disney terminal is still a little bit cleaner and maybe newer than some of the terminals that Royal Caribbean uses, but altogether, I think I can't really pick a clear winner here. So let's move on to the cabins. On Royal Caribbean, I have stayed in inside cabins, in ocean view cabins, that means a cabin with a window to the outside. I've stayed in ocean view balcony cabins, that means a balcony cabin on the outside of the ship, and I've also stayed in a studio balcony cabin and a virtual balcony cabin. And there are videos of all of those cabins in my library, so if any of that interests you, just, go down and search. And on the Disney Dream, of course, we just had this one aft balcony cabin. So I'm gonna pool together like my general experiences with Royal Caribbean and compare it to this one cabin on the Disney Dream, but I can tell you some specific things. The Disney Dream cabin was large. It wasn't any kind of like upgraded category. And so just for being basically, a standard balcony cabin at the back of the ship, it was roomy and large, and the furniture and the design, the altogether look of it was very high quality and seemed very durable. With Royal Caribbean, it has a lot to do with what ship you're on, because some of the ships have newer designs and newer looks to them as far as the cabin design goes, the interior design of it, not talking about the layout. And some of them are still, kind of like the old school style where it's, like this light wood design, and it looks like a typical maritime design, but it doesn't seem fancy. So altogether on a Disney ship, you're definitely gonna have most likely a larger cabin, and our Disney Dream cabin had a split bathroom, meaning there was a sink and a toilet in one small bathroom, and directly next to that with a separate door was another sink and the bathtub shower thing. And that's something I've never seen on any Royal Caribbean ship. However, I have seen that on Norwegian, well, one Norwegian ship, the Epic, but we're not talking about Norwegian, Morgan. The Royal Caribbean cabin that is like the freshest in my mind was the solo balcony cabin I had on the Anthem of the Seas. So it's a little bit smaller than a normal balcony cabin. However, as far as like the design goes, I liked the design of it. Also seemed new, seemed well thought out, seemed a little bit fancy, but altogether, I think I would have to give the point to Disney here just because of the little details and because of the overall quality of the furniture and curtains and things in the room is just altogether higher on Disney from my experience. But before I move on, I just thought of something that could maybe also lean a point towards Royal Caribbean, and that is the fact that Royal Caribbean offers so many different kinds of cabin categories. Disney has inside cabins, ocean view cabins, inside cabins with a virtual portal, and then like balcony cabins, and I'm sure they have suites. Royal Caribbean, on the other hand, they have inside with a virtual balcony, ocean view balcony, Central Park view balcony, boardwalk balcony, Royal Promenade view, and a whole bunch of different suite categories. So Royal Caribbean definitely offers many more options than Disney, but when it just comes to like design and quality and size of a general cabin, the point goes to Disney. You know what I mean? The shows. Live entertainment, something that at this moment in 2020 doesn't really exist anywhere. Both Royal Caribbean and Disney are known for very high quality shows, and this is a tricky one to like decide who gets the point. For those of you who are new here and haven't followed me here and haven't followed me over at my Guten Morgen channel, I have worked several years in the entertainment industry on stage and backstage in, large productions of musical theater. So this is like my deal, the shows. And especially over the last like 5 years, the shows on Royal Caribbean have gotten really great. And they've started buying the rights to like well-known musical shows like Mamma Mia and Cats, things that previously you could only see on Broadway or, a national tour or the West End or here in Germany. You know what I mean? Now you can see those shows on Royal Caribbean ships, and it's included in the price of your cruise. So you can, something that you would pay $80, $90, $100 for to see on land, you just need to be on the ship, and it's one of the many things you can see on board. Royal Caribbean also has ice skating shows on board and like water acrobatic shows, not on all of their ships, but on many of their ships. They've got so many different kind of show options and super high quality, great talent, great production quality, you know, like A+. Disney also amazing show quality, top level talent, top level production quality. The theater, the indoor theater on the Disney Dream was amazing. The technology that they had available for the production of the shows, it was like mind-blowing that it was on a cruise ship and included in the price. Disney also has really fantastic poolside shows, so the pool deck becomes also like a show venue at night, and they have a stage there and fireworks and confetti cannons and stuff like that. So that's something that I haven't really seen on any Royal Caribbean ship, like amazing shows on the pool deck themselves. However, Royal Caribbean, when you look at their entire fleet, like I said, they have many more show style options, let's say that. And here's the thing that, you know, if I was going to give if I had to give a point, I think I would give it to Royal Caribbean. And it's because the quality and production value of the shows on both ships are good. And I'm hesitating now because some of the smaller, older Royal Caribbean ships, they won't have the same like current quality as like the Allure and Oasis and Harmony and Quantum of the Seas. So let's kind of stick to those when we're talking about the shows on Royal Caribbean, I guess, compared to Disney. And yeah, the point I'm trying to make is Disney has only original musicals on their ships, so shows that you can't see anywhere else, not even on Broadway. Whereas Royal Caribbean has shows, you know, that you've heard of and that maybe you didn't get a chance to see in New York, and so now you can see it on the ship. So if I had to give a point, I think it would go to Royal Caribbean for the fact that they have name brand shows, but to say it like for the 200th time, quality on both A+. Next, we're going to talk about service, and I have a really interesting service story from Disney. But before we move on, please forgive me for putting a little commercial break right here.
So we can dance through the night, keep it tight.
Disney, of course, is famous for having a super high quality or super high standard of customer service. If we're talking about going to any of the Disney parks, and of course now the Disney cruise ships as well. You know, when you think of Royal Caribbean, that's not one of the things that immediately comes to mind, but that doesn't mean it's because they don't have good customer service. But Disney is just like, you know, out of this world. At the moment, I can't recall ever having like any horrible customer service on Royal Caribbean. I would say they do a really good job. So Royal Caribbean customer service, yeah, they do a great job. Disney, however, because of this experience that I had that I'm just gonna like summarize for you in a second, I can tell you right away, Disney, they're the best. Quick rundown of what I experienced, and there is an entire video about this thing that I filmed on board that you can also see. If I think about it, I'll link it in the comments. We were in port and I wanted to go out on the balcony, but they were painting the balcony next door. And I simply asked them when they were gonna be finished. I wasn't mean, I wasn't upset. I just was like, oh, you know, how long is this gonna be going on until it's finished? And then they packed up and stopped in the middle of their job. And then I also got like 2 phone calls and a bottle of wine just because I asked how long it was gonna take. I didn't even complain. There wasn't even a complaint. It was obvious to the Disney crew members or cast members that was disturbing to me in some way. They went out of their way to make sure that I felt better and had a good day. Like, they, you know, not to use a bad cruise ship pun, but they went overboard and really knocked the ball out of the park. And as far as service goes, definitely Disney gets perfect score. The spa. This is something, a topic that I've made some videos on recently because I did go to the spa on the Disney Dream and also to the spa on the Carnival Cruise I did this year, and I have been to the spa on Royal Caribbean ships as well. And altogether, I have one thing to say for the spa on Royal Caribbean and on Disney, and that is, don't go there. If you want a massage or a pedicure or a facial or anything like that, do it on land. Don't do it on a cruise ship. Don't do it on Disney. Don't do it on Royal Caribbean. Don't do it on any ship. I am not a fan of how overly priced it is and how on any ship you go on, the people who work there are paid based on how many extra products they can sell you while you're there. Be it if you're getting a haircut or your nails did or a massage or whatever. I don't like that that's how those people have to work, and I don't like that I have to pay that much money for it and then be just constantly turning down buying products. So I'm not gonna go into any more detail. My advice is go to the spas on land, don't do it on a ship. I know that's probably not gonna help anybody who's like really looking forward to it now, but yeah. That's my 2 cents. We got 2 more things to go, and these are the things that I think are the most interesting or the things that are most important to me maybe, and they are the attractions and the food. This is another difficult category because there are so many things to compare. So I'm gonna try to go through it quickly. First of all, Royal Caribbean has casinos on their ship and Disney does not. So that could be a very big deciding factor for you if you like to spend time in a casino. You will not find a casino on any Disney ship. Disney does have water slides on all their ships. However, Royal Caribbean has like water parks, like several different kinds of slides on a lot of their ships. Not all of their ships, but especially the bigger, newer ships have several different fun water slidey options. What Royal Caribbean also has that Disney does not have, and most other cruise ships, I don't think any other cruise ships have these, are surf simulators, skydiving simulators, and ice skating rinks. I don't think you'll find those on any other ship, and definitely not Disney ships. So as far as fun attractions on the actual ship, Royal Caribbean definitely wins, even though we're talking about Disney. Isn't that weird? And when you think about Disney and you think about Disney World and Disneyland, then you think about all these rides and stuff, but not on the ships. Then, when it comes to private island destinations, Disney has Castaway Cay, which, we were just at a couple months ago. I have it very fresh in my head. And Royal Caribbean has Coco Cay and Labadee, and there's another one that they're building somewhere close to Australia, right? But I have been to Coco Cay before the renovation, and I've seen a lot of videos of how it looks now, and I have been to Labadee, and I can tell you that as far as exciting, fun, like breathtaking attractions, Coco Cay and Labadee definitely win, because Labadee has fantastic like alpine slide coaster down the side of the mountain, and that crazy zip line that we did, watch the video of that is like a once in a lifetime, one of a kind thing that I don't know if I'll ever do again. Coco Cay, of course, has now this gigantic water park with some huge water slides and so many fun options on the island now as well. And on Castaway Cay, Disney's island, everything there, it felt like being at a Disney park. So everything is super high quality. Everything's painted and clean and pristine and well thought out and well marked and just super high quality and standard. However, as far as fun, exciting things to do, like activities when you get there weren't so many as on the Royal Caribbean islands. We really enjoyed riding our bike around, and we went swimming and did stuff like that. There were 2 smaller water slides that we decided not to do just because the line was too long and we were already dry and blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. But the type of activity and the selection of activities, definitely more when it comes to Royal Caribbean. So they get the point here. Now let's talk about food.
I've been holding on, I wouldn't let you go. 'Cause every time I try, you find a loophole.
Throughout the years, I've realized more and more how important the food is to me. One reason is because I just enjoy eating, and the other reason is because I'm kind of a picky eater. So the kind of options that are offered and the way they are offered makes a big difference to me when it comes to how I enjoy my cruise. And, you know, it seems silly to talk about this now because we don't really know how it's all going to change when we start cruising again, you know, at the end of this year or whenever that happens. But based on my experiences up until now, these are my thoughts. If we're looking at the buffet options, then I would say the taste and the selection of the food, like the variation in the buffet, is basically the same on both cruise lines. The quality and the presentation, however, is better on Disney. So like if we're talking about, you know, a potato salad, like the potato salad on Royal Caribbean and on Disney probably tastes the same, but the way that it will be made and presented will be better on Disney. One huge plus point for Disney is in the buffet, soda, soft drinks like, you know, Coca-Cola and stuff like that included. Don't need to pay anything extra for it, and you always need to pay extra for it on Royal Caribbean. Very important thing to note. And when you think about how much more expensive Disney is than Royal Caribbean, that's one thing that you can sort of factor into it, is if you were to buy, you know, the drink package on Royal Caribbean, how much does that add to your cruise cost? And on Disney, it's included in the very high price. All right, now let's talk about main dining rooms. These are included in the price of your cruise on both cruise lines, and I don't have so much experience with the main dining room on Royal Caribbean. It's been a long time since I've eaten in the main dining room on any Royal Caribbean ship. We just don't dig it. Might be the only option coming up, but as far as our cruises in the past, not our favorite experience. On Disney, they have a rotational dining system where there are more than one main dining room, and each of these restaurants is a completely different experience, and they all have something special about them. So it's like, yeah, it's more of an experience than it is just going to dinner. On Royal Caribbean, it's basically just like going to a restaurant, except that at a restaurant on land, you're not forced to sit with like 10 other people that you don't know and make small talk. So from the experience itself, Disney definitely wins, just because, you know, they have some really cool things to do and see while you're having your dinner, and it's gonna keep your kids occupied, which I know for a lot of people is an important factor. As far as the food quality and selection goes, I would say when it comes to selection, you'll have a bigger selection on Royal Caribbean, because Disney, they have kind of set menus in their dining rooms, and they really don't change very often. And I mean, like, we had people on our cruise that didn't even need to look at the menu because they had been on so many Disney cruises that they already knew what was going to be offered. And I don't think it's like that on Royal Caribbean at all. Food taste in the main dining room, I would say, from my experience, both the same. And when it comes to service, as I said before, Disney, they just do a great job. And one cool thing about the Disney experience is the wait staff, they go with you. So if you're in, you know, the one restaurant on the first night and then you go to the next restaurant on the second night, then you'll have the same wait staff. So they get to know you, and just something cool about that. But now let's talk about the extra charge restaurants, the upcharge restaurants or specialty restaurants that are not included in the price of your cruise. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, we didn't try any of those on Disney. They are Palo and Remy. Both of these experiences on Disney are high class, quite expensive tickets. So if you want to have a really fancy evening and try some really special food in a very special environment, that's what these are for. And that's it. They have two specialty restaurants as far as I know. Royal Caribbean, on the other hand, offers so many more. Mexican, Italian, wine bars with tapas, fantasy restaurants like Wonderland, churrascaria, big chunk of meat restaurants where, you know, they come around like cavemen with gigantic things of meat and slice it off onto your plate. Burger restaurants with singing waiters. Royal Caribbean has so many more options when you want to like upgrade your cruise to try something different. And so that's why I would say when it comes to food, Royal Caribbean also wins this point. And just a little side note, I also did the same video comparing Disney Cruise Line to Carnival, and Carnival also won. And you know, when I think of it, you know, people might get the impression that that means that I thought the food on Disney was bad, but that's not the case at all. It has more to do with like the selection and variety, I think. As always, I love to hear your feedback. If you think I got something wrong, then let me know in the comments below. And if you agree with something, let me know as well. Let me know what you thought of this video altogether. And this has become a very long video. I had to stop and put a different card in my camera today, and that almost never happens. So because of that, I'm gonna cut it short here and not do comment on your comments this week. Please forgive me. And now, I think I'm gonna lay back down, and hopefully I'll feel better when I wake up again. Next week, we are going on our little theme park adventure to Fantasyland and Toverland, so be sure to stay in touch here. Check out Instagram and Facebook for pictures of what's going on right now. Thanks as always to all the people whose names are down here, my friends over at patreon.com/veryunofficial. These are my VIPs. And I have love for everybody else over at Patreon as well. If you want to find out what's going on over there, patreon.com/veryunofficial. You can see lots of things that you won't see here. Bloopers, outtakes, planning, advice. It's like a secret little club we have. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.